For millennia, I lived in solitude, in isolation, days marked by the sun's cycle of reincarnation, rays of red at dawn and the afternoons of bright blue, the sunset in rich purples as a gentle breeze blew, and finally the inky blackness of the night, littered with the silver dots, impossibly bright. The changing skies gave me company while I remained, timeless, immortal, constant, unchanged. I often wondered what my purpose in this world was. I did not remember being born, and no one told me if I were to die. Things changed one morning when I was woken up by the sound of hammering on my body. My first impression was that this was strange and new, but it wasn't unpleasant. A two-legged animal I had never seen before stood staring at me. It must have seen quite a bit of the world, for I had designs of birds and plants on my body that I had never seen in my territory. Eventually, I started to see more of these animals. Oh, and what did they call themselves? Humans? No, Hookans. Oh, was it just Mans? Yes, I remember. Umans. Umans it was. I liked them. They began to use me to tell their stories. They used my immortality to become immortal themselves. Their stories got interesting from that point. For the first time, I saw their newborn. Oh, he was adorable. For a moment, I thought spring had struck before time. I could feel the freshness in the air. Cradled in his mother's arms, he looked around innocently. How I wished that child was mine. I guess the male humans had similar wishes, for as soon as the child was born, the men were fighting to claim him. It was confusing, chaotic. How was anyone supposed to know who the real father of the child was? These humans mated with several partners. What was the solution? Me. Yes, me. Oh, these humans sure were smart. My purpose just magnified as they assumed me to be the supreme authority. A man and a woman would come and take their oaths to stay with each other forever, with me as their witness. Their population divided into pairs, and with that, a child would know his mother and father as soon as he was born. Well, the chaos was gone. A new order emerged, an order they called family. It was all so rhythmic. The humans had aligned their routine with the cycling colors of the sky. They came out at the break of dawn, when the first red ray of the sun hit the ground, as birds welcomed the day with their songs and the ants crawled all over my body. The families came and picked their fruit every day. My days went by watching the children climb trees and looking at the men and women uproot vegetables near my foot. Things went smoothly for a while. Their population grew. It happened soon after I started to see more and more of their families around me. The land was limited, and there were so many of these humans now. It was almost inevitable then that the rhythmic activity of plucking fruits became a race. Whoever got there first got the fruit. Time is irrelevant to me, so I don't know how long it was, but the chaos did erupt again. Their harmonious song reached a crescendo and gave way to noise. Once, two families nearly killed each other over a piece of sugarcane. I was broken, carved, and put together as a throne. They gave the decisive authority to one amongst them and called him the king. Humans were drawn to him like moths to a flame. I was somewhat jealous, for now I had to share my authority with him. But he proved himself to be useful, for it was now he who decided who got what. This king was always covered in dazzling robes and fittingly exuded captivating power. The noise once again became a harmony, for now there was someone to establish and maintain order. The humans soon started dancing to a different tune, the tune of their king. Their actions became much more predictable and ordered, for it was the king who directed them. A new disruption was just around the corner. The birds told me that kings were made elsewhere too. But I should have known from experience, routines aren't meant to last. And sure enough, soon the humans were fighting over who would sit on the throne. While the humans in my territory were busy destroying the melody to decide who would conduct the orchestra, new faces walked in. The first thing they did was to break me again. They once again changed my purpose. This time, what they needed wasn't me, but rather my essence. Everything that made me. They took me apart and extracted other materials from my surroundings to produce new things. New food, new clothes, new homes, and new air, and new paths, and new sounds. There was such perfection in the surroundings. The kings had stopped fighting, for there was something beyond food and water to keep the people distracted. The perfection brought with it a new routine, a new order. There was perfection in shapes now too. There were straight lines all over. That struck me as odd. There are no straight lines found in nature. The newest form of order was called the economic order. It was order because everyone marched to the same tune of humming machines. New demands were created and new demands were met. However, as the humans and their demands grew, some requirements went unfulfilled. New questions faced them. Who was going to decide what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce? Chaos began to reign again. This time, people had to decide for themselves who would give them order. Again, they used a part of me and created what they called the voting booth. Sometimes it amuses me how some of them walk around trying to convince people why an orchestra conducted by them would be the best. It reminds me of similar battles I had witnessed when I existed in the era of the throne. The job of the conductor has become more difficult too, for now many tunes have to be played at the same time. Things are fine in my area. There is routine, there is order. But this time, the order doesn't seem calming, but rather the calm before the storm. From what I hear, there are often fights between leaders of different territories. There are fights over how the borders of these territories are drawn. Fights about how to determine the supreme authority on this planet. Once again, the world is chaotic. They have broken me down further. They say they can use my tiniest part to destroy territories. The weapon is called the atom bomb. The birds tell me the bomb was used some years ago and it destroyed entire cities. Somewhere, I feel proud again. It's a powerful feeling to know that I possess such energy. Oh, how I love these humans for making me realize this. They say such power is needed, for the most powerful among them shall decide how the world works. Right now, they are scared to use me, considering how devastating the effects can be. I don't know what is to come next. They said the chaos must go. They tried so hard to fight it. They thought it was so wrong and tried so hard to right it. For all had their own ideas of order, they couldn't agree. They tried everything, thinking it was the solution, the key. But they are gone now, and so is all they made. And with them, the need for order has begun to fade. Back again to the solitude, the silence, the changing skies. But this time, there's no ant that crawls and no bird that flies. I know this isolation, for I lived it for 1,000,000 years before. But it no longer feels right, for I felt so much more. I miss their surprises, for now I am alive. While they are gone, their stories, my only companions, as my story goes on. Will there once again be religion, states, factories and armies? Will they realize that order and chaos come and go with the passage of time? Now there's chaos again in me. Who will fix this chaos within?